Hey guys, it's Holly from Chic Antique. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Trash to Treasure makeover on some mid-century nightstands. So if you're excited to see this makeover, just keep watching. So here's what we're going to be working on today. It is a set of mid-century nightstands. These were actually a freebie, so naturally they're in really rough shape. There was a bottle of lotion spilled, nail polish, and I think they also tried to repaint over some spots that had been damaged, and there's a lot of texture, dirt, and paint missing, as you can see. I know this is a really long intro showing you what these look like, but I just want to show you that even though a piece looks really ugly, everything has potential. Anything can be fixed, repaired, and made like new. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to be starting by removing the hardware. It is a knob with a metal backing that is attached with a nail, so I'm going to be removing that with my screwdriver. Next, I'm going to be cleaning the piece. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner, and I'm going to take the drawers out and I'm going to clean the entire piece. So starting at the top and working my way down. It's really important to get your piece as clean as possible. That way you have a good base for your paint to stick to. And I'm using a toothbrush to get in any of the cracks that I can't reach. And make sure you are cleaning inside and outside your piece. You never know what's in there, and it's always best to start with a clean canvas. And here's how dirty the water got. It's pretty gross. After cleaning with White Lightning, you always want to rinse it with clean, clear water. Now I'm going to be sanding. I'm going to start with 180 grit on my random Orbital sander. And this is sped up really fast, but I did take my time on these and sanded them really well because I wanted to start with a really smooth surface. And when you're sanding, whether it is by hand or with an electric sander, make sure you are wearing some sort of breathing protection, whether that is a N95 mask or a respirator. And you can see after every section I go over, I touch it with my hand. That is the best way to figure out whether you need to continue sanding. Just feel the surface, and if it's to your liking, then move to a different section. That's how I gauge how much sanding to do. Now I'm going to be further smoothing that out, so next I'm going to be using 120 grit sandpaper on a sanding block. And I'm showing you guys every single step because I want to emphasize how important prep is. It's just as important, if not more important, than the paint you use, the tools you use. That's how you get a good finish. And here I'm just continuing with the 120 grit sandpaper. Again, feeling with my hand as I go along. Now I just remove the paper from the block to get over those curved areas. It makes it a lot easier. And finally, I'm finishing with 220 grit sandpaper. and then using that 220 grit on the rest of the piece. And now to remove the dust, I'm starting with a vacuum, and then I use a microfiber cloth and then a tack cloth as always. Next, I'll be using Dixie Belle Mud in white to fill in any scratches, dents, or damage to the finish. Here I'm starting with the area where the hardware was. Where that gold backing was left a bit of a dent, so I am filling that in, and then any other dents in the piece. And this piece did have a lot of dents, so I wish I got it on footage how covered it was, but it's white so you can't really tell, but it was pretty bad. And then here's a close-up of what I'm doing with the cracks. I'm actually filling those. It just creates a smoother finish. So on this right side here, that is what it looks like filled. Obviously it's not sanded, but the left side, you can see the black where that crack is, where there's a space in between the wood. So I'm just filling that to create a smoother finish. And then there were also these cracks on the sides as well. On that lip there was a bit of space, so I'm filling that as well. And under the top lip as well. And after that's dry, after a couple hours, I'll just come back with a 220 grit sanding paper and smooth those out. And now I'm just smoothing out the drawer as well. And after all the sanding, even though I don't show you guys, I always use a microfiber cloth and then a tack cloth to remove the dust every time. Now I'll be priming with Dixie Belle's Boss Primer. It blocks stains, odors, bleed through, and any kind of smell. Even though this piece has already been painted before, I'm still priming because the wood can still bleed through, especially when it's an old piece. It can be more common for bleed through to occur. And then also if there are any stains on the paint itself, that will block those in as well. And I only did one coat of this primer. Next, I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Slick Stick Primer. It bonds to glossy and shiny surfaces. So there is this gold trim on the bottom as well as the drawers. So I'm going to be using this primer so that the paint can adhere properly to those areas. And I did 2 coats of this and let it cure overnight. Now for paint, I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Chalk Mineral Paint in the color Apricot. It's kind of a peachy pink color, and I'll be using my Zibra brush. And I always mix the paint first, and then I'll be going in with my Zibra brush, starting at the top and working my way down. And this is at normal speed, just to show you what the process looks like in real time, and then I'll be speeding it up in a second. How insane is this coverage, guys? This is one coat. It's crazy. And you can see as this paint is going on, we can see that our prep work has really paid off. It looks so smooth, you don't see any dents, you don't see any discoloration. So that just shows you how you can take a piece that looks so bad and make it look new again. Prep is the most important step. And now just speeding it up. If you ever feel like your paint is dragging, especially with Dixie Belle or any water-based paint, you can keep a water misting bottle nearby and you can spray your brush with that to prevent drag and streaking. And you can see here, I actually have the piece on these painter pyramids that make it a lot easier to get to the very bottom of the piece. And here's how it looks on the drawers, just continuing that same process. No project is perfect, guys. I just wanted to show you this bleed through that I had in a couple spaces. This looks like either some sort of pen mark that bled through or some sort of wood tannin. So I'm just gonna go over that again with another coat of Boss. And then on this corner here, there was a pen mark that popped through actually as well. So I primed that as well. And then after that first coat of paint is dry, I'm just going in with 320 grit sandpaper and smoothing everything out. I want these to have a super modern, sleek finish, so I'm sanding in between coats. And then I'll be removing the dust with a Tack Cloth. Now I'll be adding my second coat of paint. There were a couple spots that I missed with the Dixie Mud filler initially, so I did fill those in after the first coat of paint. Sometimes you can't see dents or scratches or dings until you get some paint on there, so it's always okay to add some wood filler in between and just paint over it. And I'm just showing you here how I wet my brush when it starts dragging. And wetting it again. So I only showed you guys a couple times when I wet my brush, but I wet my brush almost once, even twice per section. So I just wanted to let you know how often I do mist my brush. And then we're just going to continue painting the rest of the piece. Same thing. Have any of you guys used this paint color? I would love to know in the comments. It's probably my new favorite color for springtime. It's just so bright and cheerful. Now I'm going to seal the piece with Dixie Belle's clear coat in a satin finish, also using my Zibra brush. And before I seal a piece, I always wipe it down with a tack cloth to remove any dust or lint to prevent that from getting in the clear coat. This is probably my new favorite brush for top coating my pieces now. I don't love it for paint, but I definitely love it for top coating. It makes it so smooth. And the process is so much faster because the brush is so wide. And then we're just going to speed it up. If you guys haven't tried this top coat, I would definitely recommend giving it a try. This satin sheen as well as the flat are probably my two favorite top coats. They are very smooth and level out pretty well, and they don't leave any streaks. As long as you don't overwork them, I'll say that. Here I'm just top coating the drawer to show you what that looks like. I always do at least 2 coats of protection on my pieces, so here is that second coat. Very, very sped up. And then the drawer as well. It's crazy, in every single angle the paint color looks different. And I did have my garage door open for most of my filming, so that could be part of it, but it looks more peachy in some lighting, kind of orange in some, and then also pink. It's really, really interesting how it looks different in every single lighting. I guess that's kind of cool. But I'd say it's a true peachy pink. And I just wanted to show you the hardware that I got from Home Depot before I put that on. And now, just to rejuvenate the drawers, I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Big Mama's Butter in Orange Grove scent to just freshen up that wood and give it some life. And I really wish I had a bigger wax brush because this one is tiny and it took forever, as you can see. Don't make fun of me, I'll get a new one soon. I love the scent of this wax. It is so fresh. It's not overpowering or fake smelling. It really does smell like fresh oranges. It's really, really nice. And that does fade after a little while, but while it lasts, it's really, really nice. You can see on this back panel here how much the wood changes once you put the wax on there. It's really cool. And just FYI, this wax is oil-based. And now just a little trick here to make the drawers slide smoother. I'm going to be using that wax on the guides as well as the sides of the drawers. And inside that drawer cavity as well. Now that it's complete, I just want to remind you what we started with. Really old, gross, dirty, outdated, beat up nightstands. And here's what they look like now. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this makeover today. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos before you leave. I would definitely recommend my video on how to stain furniture for beginners. I'll have that linked in the eye as well as down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.